Hello, Joe.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for the delay. Terribly sorry. All my fault, I'm afraid. Now, who have we got from Sky Sports News on there, please?
Hi, Brian. James Kohler.
Hi, James. I think I've given you recording privileges. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
You're recording okay? Great. Do we have anyone from the BBC with us? Sam, are you there from Talk?
Yeah, I'm here, Brian.
Lovely. So what we'll do, we'll lead off with James, if that's okay. Then we'll go to Sam, and then we'll throw it open for questions. If you can just use the chat facility as usual, everyone, that would be terrific. So James, if you're okay, Bob's your uncle, and off we go. Thank you.
Hi, Joe. Sorry to be a pain. Can you just tilt your camera down very slightly,
Right, yeah.
please? I don't know if that's possible.
When it tilts, it's a tilt, isn't it?
Done this before.
Better?
That's better, mate. Sorry to be a pain.
James, if the camera falls down, it's your fault, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe. Have you got your team in your head yet? 11 or 12?
We haven't at the minute. We're going to take our time with the limited information we have on this ground, on pink ball cricket. We're going to make sure we give ourselves as much information as possible going into the game before we make that decision. What
are your main considerations at the moment?
I think having a real good understanding of what this pitch might look like tomorrow morning. And, ahead of that first ball, it's changed quite drastically over the last few days. There's probably been a bit more live grass than previous wickets that we've seen out here. But it has got drier and drier as the days have gone, as you'd expect it to. So it's just having real clarity on what balance of attack we want. And as well, utilising this practice tonight, seeing how much dew might play and how big a factor that might be in this test, and whether that alters things at all.
So is it fair to say you're considering playing an extra seamer then, and that's the decision you've got to make?
I think there's a few things, yeah. That's certainly been one of them.
How's Jofra Archer? Is he fully fit and firing now?
Yeah, again, it'd be good to get through training tonight to have absolute clarity, but it's great to see him back bowling again. He adds to what is a very strong bowling group, very much a big part of what we're about and about England cricket moving forward. To see him back in amongst things would be very exciting, and hopefully, he is fitting up for selection.
Yeah, well, if the pink ball's doing a bit and he is fit, it'd be very difficult to leave him out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, as mentioned, he is world-class performer. He's got all of the skills. He can bowl high pace, swing it both ways, and obviously can make it talk off the seam as well. So, along with the rest of the guys all in contention, it's a very exciting place to be. And, to have now a battery of fast bowlers to choose from is where we want to be and where we want to, keep improving moving forward.
And if you do go with an extra seamer, does Chris Wokes come very much into the equation?
As I said, the whole group is very much in amongst things. So yeah, we'll make that decision going into tomorrow.
And just on this stadium, a huge stadium, and the prospect of tens of thousands of fans in there, what do you make of that?
Well, yeah, it's a phenomenal stadium. I'm sure you're going to see some brilliant cricket over the years at this ground. It looks fantastic. So hopefully, the wicket can produce some very good cricket, and the two sides can do that as well. I'm sure the atmosphere within will be electric. It was great to see fans back in the previous game. So I'm sure with the capacity of this ground that noise will go up again. And, that's what you want to be a part of these big games, be playing in these big stadiums and, be, part of history, which is what this game is.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Sam Allard, please.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Sam?
Good, thanks, Joe. Joe, I know you said you need to have a look at the pitch this evening and assess sort of the balance of the team, but Just wondering, with the batting, are you any clearer on that? I know we got Johnny Bairstow speaking with us live in about 10 minutes' time. Can you give us any clues as to whether Johnny might come back into the team?
Well, we'll get a squad to you when we're ready. I think that's how we want to do things. We just want to make sure we're really sure on everything, and when we're absolutely ready, we'll give you the full squad together.
Ben Stokes spoke with us recently, and he said that Ollie Pope could surpass all of the records that you set for England over the next couple of years. As an experienced batsman, what's it been like for you watching Pope's development over the last couple of years, and how far do you think he could go in this England Test team?
I think he's got a wonderful game. I think he's a great player. He's learning in this part of the world. It's a new experience for him for sure, but he's got all of the attributes. He's got a very good game, very good all-round game, and a very mature head on young shoulders. So I completely agree with what Ben said. I think it's everything there. It's now, can he go and prove that? But he's certainly got the ability and the attributes needed to go and be a real performer in Test cricket for many years to come.
Thanks, Joe, and good luck.
Thank you.
Will McPherson, please.
Hi, Joe. I appreciate you might not give anything away about who's actually going to play, but could you just talk us through the situation with that top order with Zach and Johnny both available again, I think, and sort of where Rory's form is at, and Dan Lawrence as well?
Yeah, I think it's a great headache to have these two guys back in the fold and available for selection. So, it's been a tricky tour for our batters. It's been very alien conditions. It's been a lot of learnings that's been going on, and I think the guys have responded well to that. They're trying to develop all the time, trying to keep improving, and adding to what are very good games that have had success in the Test arena so far. So that's the thing that I'm looking at more than anything. Of course, we're here to win and we're here to produce results. But, if you're trying to build a team over a long period of time, you need to keep looking to get better and adding things all the time. And the attitude that the group have shown in that respect has been outstanding. So long may that continue. We have got some difficult decisions to make, but these are headaches that we didn't have a year or so ago as well. And, that's testament to the hard work that these guys have put in.
Is it particularly difficult for left-handers in these conditions with Ashwin and that rough outside their off stump?
Yeah, well, he's a world-class performer. I think it's been quite tricky for everyone, but as you mentioned, in particular, the lefties against him because of how skillful he is, how good his record has been against our left-handers, and well, in world cricket, his record against left-handed batters. So, he's a fine performer at home, and guys just have to keep working hard to try and figure out how they're going to score their runs. I think one thing that I watched how he played Leachy, for example, in the previous game. Scoring that 100, how he used the crease to his advantage, not just coming down the wicket, but also getting deep in his crease and trying to make it very hard for Jack to bowl one length at him, trying to mix his length up all the time. I think we've got to keep being proactive, being smart about how we're going to look to score our runs and really make it difficult for their spinners to bowl 6 balls at us. As I mentioned previously when we've spoken to you, I think that's one thing that they did well, and one thing that we could have improved with the ball was the amount of times that we couldn't quite string a maiden together or bowl 6 balls at one batter, which I think they were very proactive with their batting. They managed to rotate strike very well. So they're all things that we can take forward as a batting group and that we can add to our own games and make it a little bit more tricky for them when we come to bat next time.
John Etheridge, please.
Joe, morning. Broad and Anderson have not played a Test match together so far this winter, and Jimmy was telling us 2 days ago that it has crossed their mind that they might not play a game together ever, particularly overseas. Has that crossed your mind? Do you think they're done as a pairing, particularly overseas?
I think you'd be wrong to ever write off those two to do anything. The records that they've had, the things that they've produced, especially in the last couple of years, has been. Well, it's a reason why they're up there with the top 3 bowlers in the world. They're consistently getting better. The older they get, they're using their experience to their advantage all of the time. And I'm sure there will be opportunities where they get to play together, in the near future, and much further down the line as well. You're talking about 2 of England's greatest bowlers, and the records that they set will be very difficult for anyone to surpass. So. I feel there's a lot of life left in them both. And you know, you add in guys like Jofra, Woody, Wokesy, all of these skillful bowlers around them. We're building a very good team, and that they're both very much at the front of.
And plainly, they've got a chance of playing together tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, they have got a chance. You know, as I say, it's a great selection headache to have, is to have all of these bowlers performing, putting in performances, and giving us real variety, so that we feel that we can pick the team that best suits the conditions and the best makeup that we think is going to balance things very well.
And just finally on Borden Anderson, I mean, can sentiment ever play a part in selection, or do you have to be absolutely hard-headed? I mean, sometimes it must be tempting to give the old timers one more fling together.
I think you've got to look at the game. It's in front of you. Of course, there's that emotional side to things, which you do have to sometimes put to the side. But the one thing that you know with two of them, that they'll never let you down. They'll try hard to set a very good example for the whole group. And that's why they've been such proven performers for such a long period of time. It's because of how they go about things, how they're constantly finding ways to motivate themselves, new challenges and goals to chase down. And you know, that I think they've been a big part of us building such a good group of fast bowlers in the recent times. It's because of the example they set, the way they speak to these young guys coming through, and help aid their development as well.
Dean Wilson, please.
Yeah, hi, morning, stroke afternoon, Joe.
Good morning.
Again, with the team, without trying to second guess too much, are the opening duo safe and secure in their roles, or are you looking at Zach Crawley as well, possibly replacing Rory?
As I said, I'll give you the whole squad together. I think that's the way I want to do it. Is we'll deliver that when we're ready, and hopefully we can get to that to you sooner rather than later. But I think that's the best way of going about things. But as mentioned, it's great to see Zach back up to speed and looking at full fitness again, as it is with Jofra too.
And then when you're making that decision, you've said you're looking at the specifically. So does anything like central contracts come into play? I remember when you had a decision to make between Zach and Joe Denley. You went with the youth last summer, and obviously Zach performed admirably after that choice. You may have a decision to make between Zach, Johnny, and Dan Lawrence. I mean, Zach's the only one with a central contract. Does that give him an extra? I
didn't quite hear the end of your question, but I think I got the gist of it. In terms of central contracts, Dean, that's completely not my remit. The squad is selected for this trip, and then it's very much our responsibility to pick the side that we think is going to win the game. I'm not involved in those contract negotiations, or well, they're not negotiations, are they? But those talks, if you like, and how they're handed out and awarded. So for me, it's about trying to pick the team that we think is going to win. It doesn't really have any reflection on whatever contract they are. We're just trying to pick the side that we think is best going to win every test match.
And just finally from me, England's most recent pink ball test saw them bowled out for 58. India's most recent pink ball test saw them bowled out for 36. How do those experiences affect your thought processes going into another pink ball game?
Yeah, I think there's been a trend of the actual all of the pink ball test matches that there have been collapses on occasion. You look at the game that we played against the West Indies, and there was that collapse in the first innings, I think, of their innings. It seems to be a trend, and it's something that as a batting group you need to make sure that you stop. And I suppose one thing that stands out to me is that it's the vital first 20 balls, making sure you get used to the tracking the ball, get used to the conditions, and being very aware of how things can change throughout the day. It's not necessarily just been that one moment under lights or that twilight period that's had that effect. It's sometimes been right at the start of the game, in the morning session, late on in day 4, that these strange sort of passages of play have happened. So I suppose it's when you get that opportunity and you're on the right side of it. You're in the field, a ball in hand. You really get on a roll with it. You take every opportunity and chance, and you make that really count in your favour. Similarly, when with a bat in hand, you just got to really make sure that those 20 balls you're fighting with everything you've got to get yourself in, get accustomed to the wicket, the conditions, and make sure that you build that partnership, which is so vital.
Thank you.
Three more now, please. We've got Shashwat, Nikhil, and then Dave Charlesworth. So Shashwat first, please.
Good afternoon, Joe. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine as well. I just have a couple of questions for you. So firstly, yours as a batting group has had a few problems against left arm spin, both in the current series and in the recent series against Sri Lanka. So so now that you've had these 10 days, have you worked on something specifically to tackle Akshar Patel or someone of that sort?
I think we've worked very hard as a whole in terms of our batting group. We tried to speak about the challenges that this pink ball will represent, that actually it has got quite hard seam on it. It seems to stay harder for longer. Not only will that aid the seamers, but I think it will aid the spinners as well. It might give them a little bit more bounce, and it might turn quicker for longer, if you like, with the ball staying a little bit firmer. So it's just being very aware of that. I think you can get sometimes sucked into those individual battles where you get out to one bowler a couple of times and you feel that they've got the wood over you. And actually, you've just got to play what's in front of you. You play the ball. You don't play anything other than that, and have real trust and clarity in your own game and how you want to score your runs. I think that's the only way that we can look at things. And I have full confidence that we've got a great group of players that are more than capable of scoring runs out here.
Okay, so just as a little continuation to that question, so you talked about individual battles, and Rishabh Pant versus Jack Leach has been one of the battles of the series so far. So has this longer gap given you a little more time to actually work on something, on getting him out early and not being able to do as much damage to you?
Yeah, well, I think the way that battle finished in the last game was probably one to Jack. So I think he'll gain a lot of confidence from that. And he's a fine player. He plays some extraordinary shots. It makes it very difficult for some bowlers to bowl at him. But more than anything, it's can we keep him quiet? Can we make it difficult for him to really take us on and find ways of either getting him off strike or chucking one up in the air, running past one like he did in the last game. And that with Rishabh, he's extremely talented and he's got a great game, but he will give you a chance. And we just got to be ready to take that when it comes.
Thank you, Joe.
Nikhil now, please.
Yeah, Joe, just one question. England can still qualify for the World Test Championship finals at Lord's if you beat India 3-1 with a margin of 2 test matches. So do you have that goal also in your mind when you will replay these next 2 test matches?
Yeah, obviously our goal is to try and get there. We go into every test match trying to do everything we can to win. And, we've got to look after this week first. We've got to make sure that we play some really good cricket in what will be very different conditions, I'm sure, to the last game. And the challenges that this test match present might be very stark from what we saw at Chennai. So it's easy to get sucked into looking too far ahead. We just got to, I'm being extremely cliche here, but we've just got to look after that first session. We've seen how important it was. We've been on the wrong side of that in a previous pink ball game. We've also got it right and got ahead of things and seen how much of an advantage that can be too. So let's do everything we can to win this game, and then we can hopefully be in a position to talk about that as a real possibility if we get the result we desire this time round.
Last of all now, please, Dave Charlesworth.
Hi, Joe. Mark said pace ball is queuing up to get their hands on the pink ball, and Ben said the seamers are licking the lips. As a visiting captain in India, that must be up there with one of the most encouraging things you can hear from your seamers. But is there a sense that you might have to temper those expectations as well? Because I know you said before that you expect the pitch will spin at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure at some point that the wicket will turn. But every test wicket does at some point. Well, the majority of test wickets do at some point. It's just when, and will it happen off the straight? Will it happen out the rough? It might be that this pitch deteriorates, in a similar fashion to the first one of the series. It might not. we've just got to be ready to react to it. And you know what? The fact that the guys are full of confidence and really excited to have potentially a big impact out here in India with ball in hand as a team group is really exciting one. How we operate, I don't think changes. I think we still got to look to build pressure for long periods of time, try and squeeze the game, make it very difficult for guys to score freely and score boundaries. And by doing that, build pressure at one end and on one batter and try and force an error. The fact that there might be extra lateral movement will obviously work in our favour as well. So, that's in terms of tempering expectations. It is just simple game plans. The more that it's doing in your favour, I think Shane Warne mentioned it recently. Is as a spinner, the more it's spinning, the more defensively you bowl and the more you attack with the field. I think it's very much the same as for a seamer in similar favourable conditions.
Thanks. All the best.
Thank you very much, everyone. That's very much appreciated. Thanks for your patience today as well. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.